Hello, it is Direct Mail Monday, Veterans Day, November 12th, 2018. Everyone knows, of course, Veterans Day is November 11th. I believe the armistice was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month and all that kind of stuff. But for purpose of the Monday holiday and giving all the 9 to 5 cow slave wage, whatever you want to call them, workers of the world, not the 13% of us that own businesses, most of us, just another day, but to the super cow government workers especially, and lots of other 9 to 5ers. Today is a day off and a holiday, but of course it's a big money-making day for entrepreneurs, most of the entrepreneurs I know. However, it is Direct Mail Monday. And first of all, I want to thank all the veterans. I've been doing that for the last few days. And happy birthday to the Marine Corps a few days ago. And actually that night over at our house, got a bunch of friends and clients, including a U.S. Marine. How great was that to wish him happy birthday to the Marines on the day that a Marine was right there in front of me in the house. And then we had the actual Veterans Day yesterday. We have it again today. Lots of parades, lots of fanfare, lots of patriotism going on and all that kind of stuff. And we had the whole 100 years from the end of the World War I going on in France with all the world leaders there and all kinds of great patriotic stuff. However, the U.S. Postal Service, the super cows that they are, of course, not functioning on today, a Monday holiday. So I dip into the mailbox of what arrived last week, and look what I found. I found 2 pieces as I looked through all the stuff that I was saving that I previously had not seen. Both of them were stuffed inside other pieces as they came into my mailbox. The big junk mail, full of junk flyers that I show once in a while, stuff like this. From a supermarket or whatever. I had to, let's see if anything else was in here. No. And so let's drop that back in the circular file where it always goes when I get it. And so I thought, first of all, like, oh, look, maybe this is an FSI, a freestanding insert. It's known in the industry to marketers. Hopefully you know what that is. That means you don't have to pay postage because it goes inside some other kind of flyer or something else that's being delivered, like a Sunday newspaper has lots of, well, they used to have lots of FSIs in them, all kinds of freestanding inserts in there that you would pull out, and no one had to pay for the postage. You just pay the carrier. In this case, the newspaper, they would pay for the right to put that insert into the newspaper. And I and lots of other people use and put inserts into newsletters, and then you can have sponsors for your events and stuff like that. But these actually were stuffed in there, but they had postage on them. You see the postage paid right up there in the corner of both these pieces. And I'm going to use these for 2 purposes. Number one, to celebrate Veterans Day because they arrived in the mail from a candidate, a local candidate here, who is a veteran. How about that? So lots of flags and red, white, and blue and all that kind of stuff. And also, to correct last Monday's edition of Direct Mail Monday, where I pointed out that I'd only received 1 piece during the entire campaign from any candidate for any office. And look, what happened is here's 2 more from the same candidate. So on behalf of this candidate, the marketers sent out 3 pieces. I think the other one, wherever I tossed it, would be the same size. I tossed a whole bunch of other stuff, so I can't find it, but so I don't remember if it was exactly the same size, but these 2 are. These are oversized postcards, so a lot of lessons here. I'll go through them kind of quickly. Number 1 is to send an oversized postcard so it gets attention. In this case, even though it was stuffed into the other mailing, it was sticking out a little bit. So when I went to toss it, I was like, oh, what's that? And I pulled it out. If it had been a regular sized postcard and it got stuffed into that thing, see ya, gone, waste of money. And people wonder, gee, direct mail doesn't work. Well, if you don't do it right, it doesn't work. But if you do it right, number 1, you send an oversized postcard so it doesn't just get thrown out or lost in the sauce. That'll help you, don't you think, to get a response. It's got to get read, got to get opened if it's not a postcard before you can get any response. And I cover those in my videos of some things you need to do. So that's one lesson. Another one is, now I don't know, without knowing what list they got my name from, who was sent to him. By the way, no silly, ugly Hawaiian shirt. This time of year, we start switching over from the Hawaiian shirts to the sweatshirts. High in the low 60s today here. Ooh, that's, crazy for this time of year. It was 80 something yesterday. We were walking around. Everyone had shorts and T-shirts walking around the arts and crafts fair today. High in the 60s, low tonight in the low 40s. Ooh, Before I moved to Arizona, I didn't even know that was possible, that ever happened. Remember the first time I looked out, we moved on November 15th, 3 years ago. So it's almost our 3-year anniversary of moving. And I remember a couple of weeks after we got here, I looked across the street and the neighbor had put plastic tarps over her flowers in the front. I was like, what's that all about? Someone was like, well, it's going to be frost, and frost would kill the flowers. And I'm like, what? I mean, the last thing we did before we moved, last thing we went to was the front hall coat closet, right? We come in and out, and I opened it up, and I rejoiced. They said, look at all these winter coats in here, and the gloves and hats and scarves, and I don't need none of that. I'm going to Arizona, woohoo, where it's like 115 degrees in the summer. So clearly my brain was thinking, not looking it up, just thinking it can't possibly get cold in the winter. Lo and behold, I was wishing at least where was a scarf or a hat or something. All gone. All my flannels, most of my sweatshirts, all of everything, up there, gone. But this time of year, we start to need it here. Anyway. So a few lessons. Number one, the oversized postcard. Number two, I was gonna say I don't know where they got my list from. I'm as independent as they come, of course. Well, nothing against anyone out there who, for some reason, you choose to be a member of one of these two corrupt, self-serving, entrenched political parties that I can't even remember the last time anyone in any of them did anything for the public, unless it happened to coincide with their own personal benefit, which is why they do everything. If it happens to also be good for someone else, well, that's kind of cool. So they could have said, let's mail out to all the independents and try and convince them to go one way or the other. In this case, in any case of any particular mailing yet, to go in one way. Now, just so you know, and actually, as I realize, these come from someone named Martha McSally, who would be pretty much completely unknown around the country, except that now she's one of the last few. I mean, like, the election is still on here in Arizona. I think they still have, last I heard, over 100,000 or 200,000 ballots left to count. Like, I thought election day was last Tuesday. We're not even going to know this Tuesday, although from what I hear, the race is not even close. McSally was leading after the actual election day, but then all these absentee ballots come in. The county that I live in happens to lean towards the left, liberals, Democrats, and so that's where most of the votes were uncounted, and sure enough, they've swung in the other direction, and instead of this staunch conservative, the loony liberal, who is just a fantastic politician, is winning this election, this Kirsten Sinema. So we have gone from the two just most ineffective, couldn't care less about anyone in the state of Arizona senators, to one is being replaced now with someone who also couldn't care less about the people of Arizona and has said so publicly, which is rare for a politician. Usually, I mean, not rare that she doesn't care about any of her constituents. It's just rare that they say it publicly. In her defense, she said it years ago before she was running in this state. She didn't think, I guess, she'd be running the state. But as a great politician, she put forth to the public a totally different persona than the person she really is. In private, of course, she's as far left-wing, loony, progressive as it comes. But in public, especially in Arizona, she put forth what a moderate she is, and what a great, how much she cares about all that kind of BS. Great job. So they might have mailed to independents trying to swing them. I happen to live, even though within this left-leaning county, I live in a town that is right-leaning. In fact, it was voted the most conservative city in all of Arizona. And so maybe this was mailed from a conservative because I'm in a conservative area. So I don't know whether it was sent to bolster me as the base and get out the vote, or to sway me as the independent, or to actually try and get an independent, thinking an independent in a conservative area must lean towards conservative. I don't know how they're getting the mail, but few lessons here. Number one, use the direct mail. Use the U.S. mail, for crying out loud. It's still by far, and actually better than it's ever been, because less people are using it than ever. It's still the most cost-effective way to make money in all of marketing. Number two, use the oversized. Number three, you can see she's using a third party, a testimonial here. So this is from the conservative current governor, who won re-election overwhelmingly over his loony liberal competitor, candidate. And so she's got a quote from right there from the conservative governor, and a quote here from the temporary senator who took over for our senator that passed away. And he's a former senator, now appointed as the current senator for only a couple more years, I think. But so she's got the third-party proof on there. Include that in your marketing, for crying out loud, from people that your target market, your audience, will respect and identify with. So again, they're mailing to a conservative area, which is why I believe I didn't get this to sway an independent so much. It might have had an independent type of voice, someone from, I don't know, someone from the media, if there are any trusted people in the media anymore. It might have been a third-party trusted person that might have said something. Instead, they're very partisan people. So it tells me they're mailing to if they're doing it right, they're mailing to a conservative area to get out the vote from conservative people. Another thing is, even though these two pieces arrived in the same week, right before the election, the copy is totally different. I thought it would be the same, but you can see the bullet points on this one, which way am I in? Say 26 years of military service. Again, very fitting for Veterans Day here. And so first woman to do this and that and whatever, and she's fighting for Arizonans with 4 things to prove how much she cares about Arizonans. But the other copy, the bullet points, totally different. Well, I guess some of these are the same about the fighting for Arizonans thing. If I look at it, fighting for Arizonans, fought to pass legislation, authored legislation fast-track veterans. Yeah, so some are the same there. But this, where am I? This 6 years of military service, not appearing on this one. This one just says she was a fighter and what she did here. So it's got slightly different copy. So the person just won't get it and say, I already seen that, and throw it out. It's got different photos. This has her like relaxing, looks like some water in the background, and this is all military in uniform. There she is with a flag, and there she is again in front of a plane. I think she flew in the Air Force. And if I read this carefully or cared at all about politics, because to entrepreneurs it should not matter, folks. I mean, granted, the progressives will make life more difficult and more costly because they'll throw in lots of useless regulations that will cripple businesses like the last presidential administration did for 8 years and destroy the economy. That's not as much happening now, not as likely to happen now that we have a actual business person in the White House. He's cutting the regulations like crazy. So that just makes it easier. It doesn't affect the bottom line. We're going to make people that know how to make money, we're going to make money. It just changes I don't have to spend as much money on paperwork and legal mumbo jumbo, or my clients, and doing regulations. All we can invest that money into more advertising, more marketing, more employees, more equipment, something else. It's not going to affect, it's going to affect our strategy. It's not going to affect the outcome. So I really don't care, and it really doesn't matter. It's fun entertainment. Donald Trump said something that was hilarious. I saw a quote from him, I don't know, it was about a week before the election at one of the rallies, where he said, this is a choice between greatness and gridlock. I was like, wow, give me gridlock all day long. So I love the fact that now we have a split Congress, and it's likely nothing will get done. Also, the Congress, people that got elected, are all such anti-Trumpers that what I hear is they're going to start all these impeachment this and investigate that and subpoena this and whatever. So actually, government's not going to do anything, which is fantastic, because that's, of course, the best thing for the country, is that people are free to live our lives, and government only is working as needed. Necessary things, like if someone attacks us, we have to go to war, or local, if there's a fire or a crime, then you need a first responder for that. Almost nothing else we need from the government, and personal responsibility has always been the key to America. I say as always. I mean, for about 100 years now, progressives have been trying to destroy that. But at least we got the brakes put on that. Gridlock would keep putting the brakes, so that's all good. Anyway, back to the pieces. So she's using the third-party testimonial. Hopefully you're doing that. She's using a call to action here. She's telling you what she wants you to do. Vote for me on November 6th. And I think over half the people in this state voted early. So that would be a mistake of these, that these arrived a week before the election. Might have wanted to arrive. I think early voting started 2, 3, 4 weeks before. I voted on election day, but a lot of people, I think over half the people in the state voted early, and they might have missed this. However, I don't have to tell you, unless you're from out of the country and you're paying no attention to what's going on in our country. This country is so divided. Pretty much everyone has their mind made up, and there's not really any convincing going to be done in these pieces. It's getting out the base. So this is akin to mailing your newsletter to your current clients, customers, JV, joint venture partners, referral partners, to people who already know, like, and trust you, and you're just reminding them to do business with you. That seems to be what these are. These are just reminding people, I'm the conservative. If you like conservative stuff, vote for me. Unfortunately, again, didn't work because, I don't know, whatever reason. I'm not a political pundit here, but it didn't work, and we're going to have a progressive, loony, lefty, lying politician. I'm sure this conservative one was a lying politician too, because that's pretty much the definition. But anyway, that'll do it for Direct Mail Monday. So happy Veterans Day to Martha McSally. She lost the election, but we celebrate her today for being a veteran. Toby is here. Kevin is here saying good morning from halfway around the world. That is the evening here. Tim Moore is here. Great seeing you. Jim is here. So again, I want to thank all the veterans for your service. Without you, I might be speaking German or some other language here on these videos. But thanks to our veterans and veterans' families who aren't thanked enough. It's amazing what you go through, and I, for one, want to tell you straight out, I appreciate it. And that'll do it for Veterans Day, Direct Mail Monday, November 12th, 2018. I'll be back tomorrow on Topical Tuesday, or I did a lot of that today, I guess. I will delve into something topical, something on people's minds in the news, and I will share that in a video tomorrow. I hope you'll be with me then. Thanks to everyone here live today. Thanks to everyone watching on the replay. And enjoy the rest of your Monday evening, the rest of your Tuesday day for you, Kevin. And we'll catch you back here tomorrow on Topical Tuesday. Over and out. Bye-bye.